there, fantasy owners. Welcome to LTC Fantasy. Not sure if you're chiming in, watching via YouTube or listening via podcast, but really do appreciate the watch or listen, no matter how you're streaming the episode. Before we get started, I want to mention that we have partnered up with 247clash.com, so check out the website. The link will be in the description. It's basically a head-to-head fantasy points game that makes the pots basically winnable for everyone. If you do check it out and you do decide to sign up, remember to use referral code LTC when you make your initial deposit there. And do remember, at this time, it's for Canadian residents only. If that might change in the future, but right now it is for Canadian residents only. Today's our weekend ads episode, so we're going to take a look at this weekend schedule, find you some advantages there, and suggest some players to hopefully help strengthen your fantasy roster as you make the final push for your wins. Some things to note for the weekend: Friday's a light night at 5 games, Saturday has 9 games, Sunday's a little lighter at 8 games there. So we will focus on Friday and Sunday, as those are the lightest nights where there would be the most wiggle room on your roster, but we will also mention players that play on Saturday that get 2 games this weekend. That way, if you want to maximize on games played, there is some Saturday options for you. So basically, we will cover Nashville, the Islanders, and Tampa Bay first because they play on Friday only this weekend. Then we will cover Dallas, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and Vancouver as they play Sunday only this weekend. Then we will cover teams that play both Friday and Sunday. That way you get players that have both of the lightest nights. Then we'll cover Friday and Saturday teams. And then finish with teams that play both Saturday and Sunday there. So basically, we'll get right into it. There's quite a bit to cover here. Some D-men that play Friday only. First off, in Nashville, look at Alexander Carrier. Owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the second pairing there, and he has 3 points the last 6 games, so half point per game, but has 10 shots on goal, 9 hits, and 11 blocks in those 6 games. So he is okay in most cats, so should be a okay add-on for a light night, especially in a cats league there. Another one in Nashville's Matthias Ekholm, owned in 12% of Yahoo leagues, playing second pairing, second power play unit there, and he also has 3 points his last 6 games with 18 shots on goal and 12 blocks. He's okay in some cats. He's a little bit lighter on hits and carrier, but he also gets some power play time, so depending what your needs are, there's a couple of Nashville options for you on a light night. For the Islanders, look at Ryan Pulock, owned in 31% of Yahoo leagues, playing second pairing, second power play unit there, and he has 2 points the last 4 games, so not a lot of runway, but in those 4 games he's been +3, had 13 shots on goal, 5 hits, and 6 blocks. He is very streaky, but not bad cats overall the last little bit here, so on a light night you may get some value out of him. Another one from the Islanders to take a peek at is Alexander Romanov, owned in 23% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the top pairing for the Islanders there, and he has 4 points his last 5 games, and in those 5 games he's +4, has 9 shots on goal, 10 hits, and 6 blocks. His offense is kind of hit and miss, but he does give you value in other categories there. So especially in a cats league or a real deep scoring league, since it is such a light Friday, may be an okay ad for you. And the last one's over in Tampa Bay. Look at Eric Chernak, owned in 13% of Yahoo leagues, playing third pairing there. He has 5 points in the last 12 games, so almost half point per game. And in those 12 games, he's +7, but he's thrown 40 hits and 16 blocks. Should be good in a cats league. Definitely bump up your hit and block totals there. So for that, and it being a light night, should be an okay ad for you. Now some forwards that play Friday only. Start off in Nashville again. Look at Husso Parssinen, listed as a center, owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the top line and top power play unit. He's put up 4 points the last 5 games, and he's a +4 in those 5 games. 2 of those points being on the power play. Also thrown 9 hits, which is quite a bit for a young kid there. His points are in 2 two-point games, so he is a bit risky, but for deeper leagues, he should be an okay ad. Another one in Nashville to consider is Nino Niederreiter, listed as a left winger, owned in 15% of Yahoo leagues. Plays third line, second power play unit there, and he has 5 points the last 7 games with 21 shots on goal and 12 hits. His offense can be streaky, but he gets you a nice amount of shots on goal and hits there. So in certain formats, he'll obviously be more valuable than others. Another one in Nashville to take a peek at is Cody Glass, listed as center right winger, owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues. Plays third line, second power play unit there, and he has 5 points his last 6 games, so almost a point per game, 12 shots on goal and 3 blocks in those 6 games. So he's on a bit of a roll, but it's always hasn't been that easy for him like it has been of late. So for deeper leagues, might get some value out of him. Another one to take a peek at is Thomas Novak, listed as a center, owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, playing fourth line up on the top power play there, and he has 4 points his last 6 games. Should mention I'm recording this Tuesday night, that game's going on, and I think he already got 2 points so far, so make that 6 and 7 games. A couple of those points being on the power play, 17 shots on goal. The kid's been okay since being called up there, so especially in a deeper scoring league, you should get some value. Even in a deeper Cats league, depending how deep it is, might also provide some value there. For the Islanders, look at Jean-Gabriel Pageau, listed as a center, owned in 21% of Yahoo leagues, centering that third line up on the top power play there, and he has 5 points his last 7 games with 16 shots on goal, 12 hits, and 6 blocks. For a Cats league, he'll be a good streamer, especially on a light night. There's not much more to say about him there. Another one for the Islanders is Anders Lee, listed as a left winger, owned in 64% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, top power play unit there. He's put up 5 points his last 5 games with 15 shots on goal, 5 hits, and 5 blocks in those 5 games. He can be a bit streaky, but with it being a light night, he should be an okay option for you. For Tampa now, look at Brandon Hagel, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 51% of Yahoo leagues, playing third line up on the top power play unit there, and he has 11 points his last 10 games, and in those 10 games he's a plus 10, has 26 shots on goal, and 9 blocks in 10 games. That's a lot of blocks there, so he has pretty good numbers overall, and he should be a fairly solid option for you, especially on a light night. And the last one in Tampa is Alex Killorn. He's listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 24% of Yahoo leagues. On the third line, second power play unit there. And he has 3 goals in the last 4 games, so he knows how to put the biscuit in the basket. Has 9 shots on goal, 4 hits, and 4 blocks. He is a little bit streaky, but on a light night, and the way he's filling the net the last week or so here, could turn out to be all right for you. Before we move into the next segment, do want to ask you, please subscribe as we're trying to grow this channel. Hopefully you're getting some value out of these episodes, and basically that's my little plug, and we'll move along. Some Demon that play on Sunday only this weekend. Over in Dallas, look at Ryan Suter, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, playing second pairing, second power play unit there, and he has 5 points the last 9 games, so a hair over half point per game. 2 of those points being on the power play and 11 blocks. He's obviously not what he used to be, but he's been decent of late, and with it being a lighter Sunday, he could provide some value for you. For Philly, look at Cam York. He's owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the top pairing second power play unit there, and he has 7 points the last 9 games. And in those 9 games, he's plus 4, also has 13 blocks, which is quite a bit. He's decent of late and should be a decent option in a deeper scoring league, considering it's a lighter night. Over in Pittsburgh, look at Pierre-Olivier Joseph, owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, playing third pairing, second power play unit. He has 3 points the last 6 games, so half point per game. But in those 6 games, he also has 12 shots on goal and 7 blocks. He's okay production for a third pairing defenseman. He's okay in other Cats, not going to wow you, not going to hurt you. So in a deeper league, that's where you might decide to add him there. Over in Vancouver, look at Tyler Myers, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, playing second pairing, and he has 5 points his last 10 games, so half point per game. And in those 10 games, he's a +4, has 8 hits and 20 blocks. A lot of blocks there. So he's okay numbers for a streamer in a deeper Cats league there for you. That's where you're probably going to squeeze some value out of him this weekend. Another one in Vancouver is Luke Shen. He's owned in 53% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the third pairing right now, and he has 2 points the last 5 games, so okay production. But where he really provides value, 26 hits in those 5 games and 8 blocks. His offense is almost obsolete, but he's put up a couple points the last 5 here. But for a Cats league, that's where you're going to get some value, especially in the hits department and in the blocks department there. Now some forwards that play Sunday only. Start off in Dallas again. Look at Tyler Seguin, listed as center right winger, owned in 55% of Yahoo leagues. Plays on the second line, second power play unit. He's put up 7 points the last 12 games, so not bad, not great production. But in those 12 games, 26 shots on goal, also has 6 blocks in there. He is a bit of a hit or miss kind of option for you, but in deeper leagues, he might be an okay streaming option. Another one in Dallas, take a peek at, is Wyatt Johnston. He's listed as a center, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues there. Center's at third line, second power play unit, and he has 4 goals and 1 assist for 5 points in his last 6 games. And in those 6 games, he's had 14 shots on goal and 3 blocks. The kid's been sniping of late, so if goals are weighted a little bit higher, you'll get a little bit more value out of him. But even in a real deep scoring league, or a real deep Cats league, might be a decent streaming option. Over in Philly, look at Owen Tippett, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 5% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the top line, second power play unit there, and he has 9 points his last 10 games, and in those 10 games, he's a +8, 28 shots on goal, and 16 hits. 8 of those 9 points, should mention, has been in 4 2-point games. He did have 1 single-point game in there. So he's going to be kind of a love-hate. You're either going to love him or hate him there. But with it being a light night, depending how deep your league is, could be an option for you. Another one in Philly, Scotty Lawton, listed as center left winger, owned in 9% of Yahoo leagues. Playing on the third line, second power play unit. And he has 9 points his last 8 games. And in those 8 games, he has 15 hits and 11 blocks. He's obviously on a roll of late. And on a light night, he might be worth the gamble for you. Over in Pittsburgh, look at Brian Rust, listed as a right winger, owned in 62% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit there, and he has 9 points his last 12 games, and in those 12 games, he has 22 shots on goal and 11 blocks, which is almost a block per game. That's a lot for a forward there. So he's been decent the last little while, and on a light night, he should be a fairly decent option for you. Another one to look at in Pittsburgh's Jeff Carter, listed as a center, owned in 6% of Yahoo leagues. On the third line, second power play unit. He currently has 4 points in a 3-game point streak there. 2 of those points being on the power play. He's also thrown 5 hits in those 3 games. He is up and down, as you know, Carter, those of you that owned him. He can be really streaky, but on a light night, he gets a little bit of power play production there. Might be an okay option for you, especially in deeper leagues. Another one in Pittsburgh's Jason Zucker, listed as a left winger, owned in 26% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit there. He's put up 5 points the last 7 games, 3 of those points being on the power play, 12 shots on goal, and 20 hits. Throws the body around a fair bit. He is streaky, so he is risky, but on a light night, could be worth the chance on him. Over in Vancouver, look at Ilya Mikheyev, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 6% of Yahoo leagues. Up on the top line, second power play unit there. He's put up 9 points the last 11 games with 23 shots on goal. He can be a bit streaky, but in a deeper league, and with it being a light night, could be a nice option for you. Another one in Vancouver is Brock Besser, listed as a right winger, owned in 47% of Yahoo leagues. Up on the top line, second power play unit there. And he's put up 4 points his last 5 games. And in those 5 games, he's had 11 shots on goal and 4 blocks. He is kind of hit or miss, but he does have talent. We've seen him pot 30 plus before. So with it being a light night, could be a valuable streaming option for you. Another one in Vancouver is Connor Garland, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 8% of Yahoo leagues, plays second line, second power play unit there, and he has 8 points his last 11 games with 31 shots on goal, 10 hits, and 5 blocks. He's been pretty good of late, and especially in a Cats league, that's where you're going to find him the most valuable for you this weekend. Another one in Vancouver is Andrei Kuzmenko, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 42% of Yahoo leagues, on the third line, top power play unit there, and he's put up 6 points his last 5 games, and in those 5 games, he's a +8 there. He has a ton of offensive talent there, so especially in a scoring league, and it being a light night, that's where you're going to want to pick him up there. Now some defensemen that play both Friday and Sunday. Start off in Arizona. Look at Shayne Gostisbehere, owned in 65% of Yahoo leagues, playing top pairing, top power play unit there. He's put up 9 points his last 12 games, and in those 12 games, he's a +7. 4 of those points being on the power play, 31 shots on goal, and 14 blocks. He's been really good, and basically, if he's available, grab him and you'll be happy. Another one to consider in Arizona is J.J. Moser, owned in 6% of Yahoo leagues, playing second pairing, second power play unit, and he has 3 points the last 4 games there with 3 hits and 3 blocks. He is a bit streaky, so he is risky. Obviously, Gostisbehere is a safer option, but way higher ownership, so less likely he's available there. But in a deeper league, Moser could be an okay option for you, especially with getting both light nights. Another one in Arizona is Huso Velimaki, 0% owned, so available everywhere. Played in second pairing, second power play unit there, and he's put up 3 points the last 5 games, has 5 hits and 4 blocks in there, so he is really hit and miss, but in a real deep league, that's where he might be an option with getting both light nights. Over in Washington, look at Eric Gustafson, owned in 54% of Yahoo leagues. Man, that shot up, but you'll see why. Top pairing, top power play unit there, and he has 13 points in a 7-game point streak there, +11 in those 7 games, 20 shots on goal, 8 blocks. Basically, he's as hot as it gets. Don't just stream him. Add him on. If he's available, grab him and leave him on your roster there. Last one in Washington, take a peek at is Nick Jensen. He's owned in 10% of Yahoo leagues. Plays second pairing. He has 5 points the last 9 games, so a little over half point per game. And in there, he also has 14 blocks and 16 hits in those 9 games. He gets good blocks and hits numbers. His offense should be considered a bonus, and he's chipping in a little bit of late. So with that, he could be an okay option with getting both light nights. Now some forwards that play both Friday and Sunday. Start off in Anaheim. Look at Adam Henrique. He's listed as center left winger, owned in 7% of Yahoo leagues. Playing top line, top power play unit there. And he has 5 points the last 8 games with 8 blocks in there. He basically is for deep leagues only. He has okay numbers with having both light nights. Again, in light nights and real deep league, could be an option for you. Another one to consider in Anaheim's Mason McTavish, listed as center left winger, owned in 15% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the third line and top power play unit, and he has 6 points the last 8 games, 3 of those points being on the power play, 19 shots on goal and 6 blocks. He does have a bunch of talent, but he is streaky, so with that comes a little bit of risk, but with having both light nights, might be worth the gamble there. Over in Arizona, look at Nick Schmaltz, listed as center right winger, owned in 23% of Yahoo leagues, playing top line, top power play unit there. And he's put up 12 points his last 10 games, +4 in those 10 games, 3 power play points and 18 shots on goal. He's really good with Keller, and he's contributing in more than just offensive cats there, so Should be a pretty good option for you this weekend. Another one is Lawson Krause in Arizona, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 14% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit there, and he has 5 points in a 3-game point streak. He is a +4 with 6 hits and 4 blocks. He is on and off, but he could be a nice streamer in a real deep league. Needs to be a real deep league before I'd consider him. There's probably a few better options for you. Another one to consider in Arizona is Nick Bjugstad, listed as center right winger, owned in 4% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the second line there, and he has 4 points in a 3-game point streak. And in those 3 games, he's +3, 6 shots on goal, 3 hits, 3 blocks. His offense is hit and miss, but you can see of late he's been playing pretty good and contributes in more cats. So in a deeper cats league, might be an okay streaming option for you this weekend. Another one in Arizona to take a peek at is Nick Ritchie, listed as a left winger, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, playing third line, top power play unit there, and he has 4 points his last 5 games, 2 of those points being on the power play, 11 shots on goal, 21 hits, 6 blocks. His offense is streaky, but for a Cats league, he will bring you some value there. Over in Calgary, look at Dillon Dube, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 18% of Yahoo leagues, up on the top line, second power play unit there. He only has 1 point the last 4 games, but he put up 8 points the previous 5. Obviously, he's cooled off a bit, but he is overall been playing pretty good on the top line there. And with that and getting both light nights, might be an okay option. Over in Florida, look at Carter Verhaeghe, listed as a left winger, owned in 64% of Yahoo leagues, up on the top line, second power play unit there. He's put up 7 points the last 8 games, and in those 8 games, he's been +5, 16 shots on goal, also blocked 5 shots there. He's been pretty good most of the year, and if he is available, no way to say it, just a pretty solid option for you. Another one in Florida to look at is Eric Stahl, listed as a center, owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the fourth line, and he has 9 points the last 13 games with 27 shots on goal and 8 blocks in there. He's been decent of late. The fourth line minutes kind of scare me, but in deeper leagues, could be a viable option. Over in Washington, look at Connor Sherry, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 12% of Yahoo leagues, playing top line, top power play unit there, and he has 7 points in a 4-game point streak there, and in those 4 games, +9, also has a couple of blocks in there. He's been hot of late, and he's on Ovi's line. Ovi's sniping it lately there, so he should be a fairly decent streamer for you. Another one in Washington's Dylan Strome, listed as center right winger, owned in 24% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, second power play unit, and he has 4 points in a 4-game point streak there. Also a +4, 8 shots on goal and 5 blocks in those 4 games. He is a little streaky, but good recently. So with that, if it's a deeper league, could be a decent option. Last one in Washington's Marcus Johansson, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, playing third line, top power play unit there, and he's put up 6 points the last 6 games, +4, 3 of those points being on the power play. He is streaky, but in certain formats he can bring you some value. Now some demon that play both Friday and Saturday. Start off in Detroit, look at Jake Walman. Jake who? 0% owned, but playing on the top line, second power play unit. He's put up 2 points the last 3 games with 8 shots on goal and 12 blocks. Obviously not a lot of runway, but in a real deep league, the fact that he gets a little bit of power play time, gets a couple of games, might be an option for you. Over in San Jose, look at Matt Benning. He's owned in 3% of Yahoo leagues, plays second pairing, second power play unit there. He's put up 3 points the last 4 games with 4 hits and 6 blocks. He is a little bit streaky, but he will get you some hits and blocks numbers. So in the deeper Cats leagues especially, might be an okay option for you this weekend. Now we'll move along to some forwards that play both Friday and Saturday. Start off in Detroit. Look at David Perron, listed as a right winger, owned in 63% of Yahoo leagues, playing top line, top power play unit there, and he has 6 points the last 6 games with 21 shots on goal and 5 hits. Basically, he's been pretty good all season. He'll be a fairly good option. If he's available for you, need somebody both Saturday or Friday and Saturday there, pick him up. You'll be happy. Another one in Detroit's Michael Rasmussen, listed as center left winger, owned in 7% of Yahoo leagues, playing top line, top power play unit there. And he's put up 7 points the last 5 games with 15 shots on goal, 8 hits, and 5 blocks. He's been hot of late. He's up on the top line there, top power play unit there. Should keep it going. We'll definitely get some value out of him. Next one in Detroit is Jonathan Berggren, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the second line. He's put up 4 points the last 5 games there. He's a points-only play as his other cats are really low, and there's not a lot of runway there. So in a real deep scoring league, or if you need points in your cats league, that's where you might take a chance on him. Another one in Detroit is Lucas Raymond, listed as a right winger, owned in 42% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line up on the top power play unit there. And he's put up 6 points his last 6 games, also thrown 8 hits in those 6 games. Obviously, with Raymond, you expected more this year. That's why his ownership is so low. But he's been doing okay of late. So with having a couple of games this weekend, might be able to squeeze some value out of him. Over in San Jose, look at Logan Couture, listed as a center, owned in 52% of Yahoo leagues, playing top line, top power play unit, and he has 9 points last 12 games, so pretty nice production. 4 of those points being on the power play, 26 shots on goal, 13 hits, 15 blocks. Obviously, if you're in a Cats league, he'll be a very solid streamer for you this weekend. Now, some D-men that play both Saturday and Sunday. We'll start off in Columbus. Look at Marcus Bjork, owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, plays top pairing, second power play unit there. He's put up 3 points his last 3 games with 7 hits and 4 blocks. He can be a little bit streaky, but an okay option, especially for a deeper Cats league. Over in Minnesota, look at Jared Spurgeon, owned in 63% of Yahoo leagues, plays top line, top pairing, second power play unit, and he has 7 points his last 8 games, and in those 8 games, he's +8, has 10 hits and 25 blocks, a lot of blocks. He'll be a solid option for you and a solid streamer pretty much in most formats. Over in St. Louis, look at Colton Parayko, owned in 13% of Yahoo leagues, playing top pairing, second power play unit there. He has 3 points his last 6 games with 19 shots on goal. He has 10 hits and 11 blocks in those 6 games there. He's decent in some cats and getting some power play time there with some of the injuries with Krug being hurt, etc. So added opportunity makes him possibly an okay option this weekend. Another one in St. Louis there is Kelly Rosen. 0% owned, so basically can pick him up anywhere on the third pairing, and he has points in 4 straight games, and he has 6 blocks in those 4 games. He's been good of late, but risky, obviously, because he's kind of in and out of the lineup, but in a deeper league, and I mean leave him for deeper leagues only, is an option for you. Now some forwards that play both Saturday and Sunday. Start off in Boston. Look at David Krejci, listed as a center, owned in 24% of Yahoo leagues. Plays second line, second power play unit there. He's put up 7 points his last 8 games, and in those 8 games he has 8 hits and 6 blocks. He's been fairly consistent all year and you will get value out of him if you do decide to stream him this weekend. Another one in Boston is Pavel Zacha, listed as center, left wing, and right wing. Like that, you can place him in any of the forward ranks there. Owned in 5% of Yahoo leagues. Plays second line, second power play unit. He's put up 4 points his last 5 games, and in those 5 games, he's been +5, had 5 hits and 5 blocks. He is a bit streaky, but in a deeper Cats league, should be an alright option for you. Going over to Columbus, look at Kirill Marchenko, listed as a right winger, owned in 1% of Yahoo leagues, plays top line, second power play unit there, and he has 3 points his last 4 games with 7 shots on goal. He's up on the top line 4 now and producing, so in a deeper league, that's where you might want to take a chance on him. Another one in Columbus is Jack Roslovich, listed as a center, owned in 5% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, top power play unit there, and he has 11 points his last 11 games, 21 shots on goal. He's been pretty decent these last few weeks, and with getting a couple of games this weekend, could be a viable option for you. Another one in Columbus to take a peek at is Gustav Nyquist, listed as left winger, right winger, owned in 2% of Yahoo leagues, playing second line, top power play unit, and he has 5 points his last 5 games with 17 shots on goal. He is kind of on and off, so he is a bit risky, but with getting a couple of games this weekend in deeper leagues, he's an option. Over in Minnesota, look at Frederick Gaudreau, listed as center, left wing, and right wing. Do like that you can, again, put him in any of the forward slots there. Owned in 5% of Yahoo leagues. Plays third line, second power play unit there. And he's put up 8 points his last 9 games. And in those 9 games, he's +7, has 18 shots on goal and 6 blocks. He's been quietly decent this year and should be an okay streaming option for you this weekend. Another one in Minnesota is Ryan Hartman, listed as a center, owned in 30% of Yahoo leagues, playing third line, second power play unit, and he has 4 points his last 5 games. In those 5 games, +3, 12 shots on goal, 5 hits, and 3 blocks. He's been okay since coming back. Not sure how long it's going to last, but in a deeper league, could be an okay option for you. Another one in Minnesota, Sam Steele, listed as center left winger, owned in 8% of Yahoo leagues, up on the top line, second power play unit. He's put up 8 points his last 8 games, been a +9 in those 8 games and 12 shots on goal. He has been producing up on the top line and should get some value, especially considering his line mates are Zuccarello and Kaprizov there. Over in St. Louis, look at Braden Shen, listed as center left winger, owned in 57% of Yahoo leagues, playing on the top line, top power play unit there, and he has 9 points his last 12 games with 28 shots on goal and 17 hits. He's fairly consistent, and with injuries piling up in St. Louis to O'Reilly and Tarasenko there, he's only going to get even more opportunity there, which might make his value even more valuable come this weekend. Another one in St. Louis is Robert Thomas, listed as a center, owned in 55% of Yahoo leagues, centering that second line, top power play unit there, and he has 11 points the last 12 games there. He's basically a point per game player, so especially in scoring leagues, you know you're going to get value out of him. Over in Toronto, look at Michael Bunting, listed as a left winger, owned in 63% of Yahoo leagues, playing top line and up on the top power play unit there. And he has 11 points his last 12 games, and he's a +9 in those 12 games with 32 shots on goal and 11 hits. He's good on Matthews' line, pretty much a staple there on Matthews' line the last couple of seasons. So you know with a couple of games this weekend, you're definitely going to get some value out of him. And the last one in Toronto is Kelly Yarncroc, listed as center, left wing, and right wing, so you can place him anywhere. Owned in 14% of Yahoo leagues, on the second line and second power play unit, and he currently has 7 points in a 5-game point streak, +3 with 6 hits in there. He's definitely benefiting with being on Tavares' line. As long as he stays there, should be a pretty decent option for you this weekend. That's it for today's episode. Don't forget to check out www.247clash.com. If you decide to sign up in that player versus player fantasy format there, do use referral code LTC and start winning some cash. Remember, it is for Canadian residents only. And if you're watching this episode on YouTube, remember to hit like, hit subscribe, remember that notification bell. And if you're listening via podcast, remember to hit that heart, hit follow, hit subscribe, depending what platform you're watching it on. Good luck there, fantasy owners, and we'll talk to you soon.